Show. Turn up your mind.
This is the first major test of abortion rights since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade nearly a year ago, and the Biden administration is gearing up for a fight. At the center of all of this, conflicting rulings about access to the abortion drug mifepristone. This is a pill that's used in more than half of abortions in the U.S. It's been available for more than 20 years, but one conservative judge in Texas ruled to ban the pill, saying that it should have never been approved by the FDA in the first place. And this morning, the Justice Department is firing back, filing an emergency appeal blasting the decision as an extraordinary and unprecedented decision, insisting that it would severely harm women. And just as scathing was the reaction of more than 400 drug and biotech companies whose executives published this letter insisting the decision ignores decades of scientific evidence and legal precedent and lays the groundwork for banning any medicine. In the meantime, you have several Democratic-led states that are now taking matters into their own hands. They're stockpiling this abortion medication. Massachusetts, for instance, buying 15,000 doses, enough to last an entire year. But this is a legal fight that is only just beginning. It is widely expected to go all the way to the Supreme Court.
Yes, it will go all the way to the Supreme Court. Why do we know that? Because you have dueling. We have gunfights with dueling interests. We have, now we have dueling courts. It is unbelievable. So you had the Washington State Court. I think his name is Timothy Price. I know his name is Judge Price. I think it's Timothy. He said, you must leave the status quo in place because there is no harm that's being done with the status quo. Okay, being the law of the land. There is no harm being done. In 23 years, there's no harm being done with mifepristone. Mifepristone is safer than insulin. Mifepristone is safer than, believe it or not, Tylenol. Mifepristone is safer than, wait for it, Viagra. Yeah. More people die after they take Viagra than do after mifepristone and misoprostol, which is the two-drug therapy for early pregnancy. Early, everybody, which is what you say you could tolerate. It's what you say you're okay with. It's what most Americans say is fine with them. And this particular judge is so out of line, this Kacsmaryk dude. He is so far afield of what is American law that he literally just made up stuff. Now that, I've had a little time to spend with his writing, this is scribbling. I could have written a better opinion, and I'm no damn lawyer. I mean, this is so bizarre what he's saying. So first we have to deal with whether or not the people who brought this case have what we call standing, meaning did they have the right to bring this case? Because, you would always say to somebody, were you harmed? And they would have to say, yes, I was, in order to pass muster with the court to even hear a case, right? Well, this guy actually says, he concludes that the people who brought this case, the plaintiffs, have standing because, check these words out. Check out what I'm about to say. This is so bizarre. Because they, quote, allege adverse effects from chemical abortion drugs can or might overwhelm the medical system. This drug has been on the market in the United States for 23 years. Before it was on the market in the United States, it was on the market in Europe. It was on the market in Europe since 1980. And the hospital systems were never overwhelmed with any people having any adverse side effects or any adverse reactions to these to this particular a pill. Okay, it just never happened. So it would be one thing if he was making these claims about a brand new drug, okay, but he's not. Mifepristone has been on the market for 23 years. And if the medical system was going to get overwhelmed with people who had adverse reactions or side effects from mifepristone, the medical system would have already been overwhelmed because it's been on the market for a quarter of a century.